This is for the ones who call themselves nice and keep wondering why the world keeps taking pieces of them. Because the truth is, some of you aren't kind. You're unarmed. You're not too nice. You're afraid. Afraid of conflict. Afraid of being hated. Afraid of the moment your voice hardens and someone looks at you like you're dangerous. You call yourself an empath, a gentle soul, a good person. But if you are harmless, you are not good. You're easy. You don't forgive because you're enlightened. You forgive because you don't know how to confront. You don't keep the peace, you purchase it with your boundaries, with your dignity, with your unspoken rage. And predators can smell it. They don't look for the weak, they look for the harmless. Because harmless people confuse weakness with virtue and call it morality. Here's the nightmare. Your niceness isn't proof you're safe. It's proof you've never met your own darkness. Carl Jung had a name for what you refuse to see. He called it the shadow. Not your bad side, not your trauma. The shadow is everything you exiled from yourself because it threatened the identity you built to survive. Your anger, your selfishness, your hunger, your dominance, your capacity for cruelty. The part of you that could say, no, stop, try me. But you don't say those words. So you become pleasant. And you mistake pleasantness for purity. Here's what nobody admits. A lot of niceness isn't love. It's a survival strategy. It's the nervous system saying, if I stay agreeable, I won't be abandoned. If I never anger them, I won't be punished. If I'm useful enough, maybe I'll finally be safe. So you learn to be low maintenance. You learn to be understanding. You learn to swallow your needs like pills with no water. And then you call it a personality. But the shadow keeps receipts. It remembers every time you went quiet when you wanted to speak, every time you laughed at a joke that cut you, every time you said, it's fine, when your body was screaming, it's not. And what happens to anger when it's forbidden? It doesn't disappear. It goes underground. It becomes resentment, passive aggression, a sweet voice hiding a clenched jaw. It becomes a private curse you whisper in your head while your mouth says, no worries. And here comes the most humiliating part. When you don't integrate aggression, you still hurt people. Just indirectly. You punish with silence. You punish with withdrawal. You punish by being disappointed. You punish by keeping score, then calling it standards. You become the kind of person who never asks for what they want, but secretly hates everyone for not guessing. That's the shadow, too. Not evil, just unconscious. And because you refuse to be dangerous, you don't become harmless. You become a target. Because predators don't need you to be weak, they just need you to be conflict avoidant. They test you with small disrespect, a comment, a joke, a favor that becomes an expectation, a boundary crossed by accident. And if you smile through it, they learn something about you. They learn you can be trained. You bury the monster in the basement, and it grows hungry. Hungry for a voice, hungry for a spine, hungry for the life you keep postponing because you're scared of being mean. Jung warned you, and most people quote it like poetry, but it's a threat if you ignore it. No tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. But you tried to grow without roots. So you stay small, polite, safe. And slowly you rot from the inside out while calling it kindness. Now, listen carefully. Your shadow is not your enemy. It is your power, unclaimed. And if you don't claim it, someone else will exploit the fact that you can't fight back. Your empathy becomes a cage. Your understanding becomes an excuse to tolerate the intolerable. Your forgiveness becomes permission for repeat offenders. So here is the truth the holy never tell you. To be good, you must be capable of being a monster and choose not to be. Not because you're weak, but because you're in control. Jordan Peterson's line cuts through the fantasy. If you are harmless, you are not virtuous. You're just weak. Weakness isn't morality. Weakness is a lack of options. Virtue is having teeth and keeping them sheathed. So what does an integrated shadow look like? It looks like a person who can say no once and mean it. It looks like someone who can hold eye contact while disappointing you without apologizing for needing a boundary. It looks like someone who stops explaining themselves to people committed to misunderstanding them. Because here's the secret: predators feed on negotiation. If every boundary you set turns into a debate, you don't have boundaries, you have suggestions. Aggression integrated becomes something sacred. It becomes drive, the engine that makes you act. It becomes boundaries, the force that makes no real. It becomes protection, the willingness to disappoint people who benefit from your compliance. And here's where the metaphor matters. Better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Because the gardener in a war becomes fertilizer, but the warrior in a garden can be gentle on purpose. The warrior doesn't crave violence. The warrior craves choice. Because when you're capable of destruction and you still choose restraint, that restraint becomes a crown. That's what morality actually is: power under discipline. So how do you integrate the shadow without becoming it? You start with one forbidden sentence. I don't like that. Not a speech, not a paragraph, just truth. Then you practice the second sentence, the one that changes your life. Stop. And notice what happens in your body when you say it. Your heart races, your throat tightens, your mind starts writing apologies. That panic is the old you, the harmless you, the version of you trained to believe that boundaries equal danger. Next, you learn to endure discomfort without negotiating your dignity. Because the first time you set a real boundary, people will accuse you of changing. They'll call you cold, selfish, harsh. But what they really mean is you're no longer convenient. And when you stop being convenient, you discover who actually loved you and who just loved your compliance. This is why the shadow matters. Not to make you cruel, but to make you uncaptured. So here is your initiation. Stop asking how to be liked. Start asking how to be respected by yourself. Stop confusing peace with avoidance. Stop calling fear compassion. Stop using softness as an alibi for silence. Go down into the basement. Meet the thing you buried.
Not to worship it, not to become it, but to integrate it. Because if you can't access your own darkness, you'll keep calling it bad luck when the wrong people find you. And when you finally grow teeth, something strange happens. Your kindness stops being a reflex and becomes a choice. Your empathy stops being a leash and becomes strength. And remember this: the monster you refuse to know will one day introduce itself to the world without your permission.